winning days, just like a winning streak in sports, lead to winning weeks lead to months lead to quarters, and before you know it, you can have your most winning year yet. It only required one decision and one commitment to have your most winning year yet. And it's the habits of winning Monday.
But if you want to be part of that change, be part of the partnerships, be part of that team that wants to thrive, not necessarily just be there and wait for the 5:30.
Adversity is not your fault. You have a choice on whether you make it your responsibility. All that changes is noise. It's noise, and that noise will never go away.
Technology is there just to be a tool and extension on what I want to go do.
Additive.
Not necessarily, correct, it's additive. It's not there to replace something.
Because I'll tell you what's never going to end. Change.
I'll
tell you what's never going to be extinct. Uncertainty. Those things are normal. Change is constant, so you should expect change. It should not be a, whoa. It should be a, let's go.
Welcome back to the Future Human Experience podcast. I am your host, Eric Rodriguez. I am so excited for our conversation today. We have an amazing guest, Paul Epstein. Welcome to the Future Human Experience podcast.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Man, thank you so much for coming, Paul. I've been a fan of yours. I've seen your work not only as a thought leader, but also as you transition out of the sporting industry. You're creating a movement, which has been awesome to see, and challenging all of us that are building our own things as well. Tell us a little bit more about the movement that you've been starting, the movement that inspired so many people Win Monday.
Really, it's attacking what the majority of the world views as the worst day of the week. And so I'll even take you one step further back. Have you heard of the Sunday Scaries?
Yeah, I've just recently, man.
Okay,
tell us about it.
Basically, the phenomenon is that and I'm talking to everybody that's listening and watching right now. If in the second half of your Sunday, you start to feel a little bit stressed, a little bit anxious, maybe it leads to a sleepless night. Maybe you already feel overwhelmed thinking about the week ahead, thinking about the inbox of tomorrow, thinking about a packed calendar. Basically, you go into the week already dreading it, and it hasn't even started. So a big part of my future book, Win Monday, Win the Year, you think about the research that goes into something like this, because I thought, is it truly a phenomenon? Is it 10%, 20%, 80% of folks that have the Sunday Scaries? And it's actually in the 90s.
Wow.
The question was, have you ever felt stressed, anxious, or had a sleepless night going into the week? And 97% have experienced the Sunday Scary. So we essentially have already lost a week before it starts. And so now you go into Monday. And the big piece here is, and I'll give you one more stat and then I'll talk about what Win Monday really does for folks. 98% of folks said, when I accomplish something meaningful on Monday, I have momentum for the rest of the week. So let's capitalize on this thing called momentum, because look, I'm a sports guy. We all know the feeling. You love when your team has, as we call it, Captain Mo, that Mo for momentum. You love when your team has momentum, and you hate it when the opponent has it, because you're like, oh my gosh, I know we're up by 14 and we're going to lose this game because now they have momentum. Absolutely. If you're a sports fan, you know exactly what that feeling is. Now let's recreate that for our business, for our lives, for our team. Imagine you had an organization of people, of humans that won every Monday. What it means is everybody is committed to take one winning action to make it a winning day. They would now have momentum to win the next day. And the stacking and compounding effect is winning days, just like a winning streak in sports, lead to winning weeks lead to months lead to quarters. And before you know it, you can have your most winning year yet. And here's the beauty, Eric. It only required one decision and one commitment to have your most winning year yet. And it's the habits of winning Monday. So I'm on a mission, and we're building a team to scale this. I literally, and I know this is not an if, it's a when. There will be a day where 1 billion, with a B, 1 billion people on planet Earth win Monday. And it's going to be something that's seismic, like you can feel it. There's this energetic force that says what was, past tense, the worst day of the week for the majority of the world is now where momentum is born.
Wow.
That's it.
Momentum Monday.
That's it.
Oh my
That's
God.
it. Hired.
Paul, I mean, as someone that started off a career in manufacturing, right? I mean, for us, I remember vividly like those days, they were stressful, right? They're stressful coming in because you're coming into the unknown. But that's also what I enjoyed about manufacturing, because it's a 24-hour facility. Like, you don't know what's coming, you know what challenge you're about to have. So it's something you're looking forward to. But in this era that we're seeing this constant change, we're seeing industries transform, we're seeing regions change, folks coming out of college saying, well, I think I know what I'm going to do, but I don't know what I'm going to do in the next few years. What you're asking us to do is internalize all this as well, right? As the world is changing, as the world is going around us, the only thing we can control is ourselves. And that's what you're asking us and challenging us to do and prepare ourselves for a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about how we navigate in this world of constant change and why this call to action, this movement is needed today in this world of constant disruption.
Yeah. I'm smiling because I've got a lot of experience with this thing called change. So I worked in the sports industry, as you mentioned, from entry to executive level. It was 3 NBA teams, NFL league office. We broke some all-time Super Bowl revenue records. And then I was humbled and honored to be in the C-suite at the San Francisco 49ers. Now, as much as I would love to zoom out and tell you that in a decade and a half, I had all these Super Bowl trophies and all these wonderful things, that would be a little bit of a fallacy because the reality is out of 15 years in the business, 14 of them were losing seasons. So a lot of negativity, a lot of toxicity, a lot of change, uncertainty, disruption. You can imagine the voice of the fan. And I just call all of it defense. To me, when people talk about change, uncertainty, disruption, hurdles, obstacles, setbacks, challenges, storms, adversity, let's just chalk it up to being defense. My spirit and my recommendation for the world is, how do you play offense no matter how defensive the world around you gets? Because I'll tell you what's never going to end. Change.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's never going to be extinct. Uncertainty.
Right.
Those things are normal. Change is constant. So you should expect change.
Yeah.
It should not be a, whoa.
Right.
It should be a, let's go. Because the reality is, I'll give you an example. I was at the LA Clippers when Kobe and Shaq were across the hallway winning championships. ESPN called us the worst brand in sports. And literally my second week on the job at the Clippers, the front cover of Sports Illustrated said, worst franchise in sports history. There were 3 Clipper fans on the cover, all with paper bags. Yes, you know it. All with paper bags on their head. And one of them on the forehead said, just shoot me. Okay, so that was the environment that we want to talk defensive environment. So you think of change. Change was being on the business side. I have no control what happens on the court or on the field. I was never the player. I was in the front office. And so my team and I, we went through this experience and it exactly answers your question. We went from 28th in sales revenue out of 30 teams at the Clippers. And in a year, same product on the court, we went from number 28 out of 30 to number 2 out of 30. And it was all this spirit of controlling the controllables. The way we thought about it was the negativity and the toxicity, the change, the disruption, the uncertainty. We never knew what was going to happen on the court. We expected a loss. Sadly, we got too many of those losses. And we said the losses are not our fault, but we can make them our responsibility. I'll repeat that. The losses are not our fault. We have a choice on whether we make them our responsibility. So ownership, responsibility, accountability. What I mean by that is the next day is always up to us. My mindset, my mood, my energy, my attitude, my effort, fully in my control. And so when I'm speaking all over the globe, just like you as a proud keynote speaker, and like we're blessed and honored to be able to have the type of mission and career and calling that we have. The way I think about it is adversity is not your fault. You have a choice on whether you make it your responsibility. All that changes is noise. It's noise, and that noise will never go away. So instead of being drowned out by the noise, it's about locking in and asking yourself, what do I control? And then in the spirit of Win Monday, this isn't some motivational thing I'm talking about. Then you create a process. So in manufacturing, all about the process, all about the system. And you know what that leads to is you execute and it builds to a habit, right? Consistent process, consistent system equals habit of high performance. Okay. If I wanted to build a habit out of drowning out the noise and the toxicity and the change, I would say, come up with 2 to 3 things that are fully in your control and then do an end of day audit. Yes or no? Did I fully control? So if it is about effort, if it is about mindset, if it is about building a relationship, whatever it is, find 2 to 3 things on a daily basis that you know are 100% in your control and then do an end of day audit. And if you don't take days off from that process and that system, then you build a high performance habit And that's how you can win a day, no matter how much change is around you.
So Paul, let's dive into that a little bit more. I mean, what was that moment? I mean, you're in the Clippers at that time. What was that moment that you made a decision, or that the organization made? Was it leadership around you? Was it yourself saying, hey, I'm going to do something a little bit different? Because we can't get overwhelmed by the negativity. We can't get overwhelmed, right? So it is a little bit hard to step into that decision making, say, I can only control what I can control and take responsibility. What was that moment for you? Or was it something that happened to you in your journey that you're like, you know what, this is why I'm going to go and step into this space that's a little bit different than everyone else, but I know I'm going to be able to thrive and bring other people along onto this as well?
I've always been a team guy, and I know that your team is largely going to lead to wins and losses. Like, show me a great team and I'll show you a great locker room, and I'll show you guys and gals that are going to lock arms and have that camaraderie, that connection, that collaboration, that elimination of silos. We're not talking behind each other's back. Shared mission, one team, one mission. And so here's a good metaphor for you. And this is how I thought about it at the Clippers, because I realized if I was looking at my sales team at that point in time, we didn't have the best morale. We didn't have the best energy. We didn't have the best attitude. So the three characters that exist on any team, if you show me a team that's big enough, I promise you all three characters are represented. The percentages might change, but all three of these exist. Partners, tourists, and prisoners. Partners, tourists, prisoners. So what a partner is, front row, leaning in, fully engaged, responsible, accountable. They are the people you love having on your team. That's a partner. Tourists, it's a mixed bag. Some go left, some go right. The prisoner, arms are folded, 5:30, can't get here soon enough. I was voluntold to be here. That's a prisoner. Well, when we were 28th out of 30, the prisoners outnumbered the partners. We had to shed some of that skin, some of that toxicity, because just because the market is toxic, just because the market is negative, doesn't mean you need to be negative, but they were. And so gone with the gone with the prisoners. And actually, here's a really cool insight that I learned about this, because even in the world of culture change and culture transformation, I used to do things backwards. If I knew, and I'm consulting, I'm advising, and I say, okay, at my client's organization, there's partners, tourists, and prisoners. And it's kind of like, okay, we're both parents, right? So think about it. If your kid comes home from school with an A+, an A minus, and a D, and especially here in the US, what's our natural reaction?
I'm going to ask, what happened with the D?
Attack the D, like level up on the D. This is it. Okay. But that same principle is how I treated culture change when I did it all wrong. I tried to change the prisoners. And I realized two things, Eric. Number one, it didn't work. And number two, it drained all my energy. And now I had nothing left to give to the people that did want to be there. And so now I flip it and I say, shine a light on the partners, scale those bright spots. So that's what we had to do. It was gone with the prisoners. We shined a light on what is going right. We had this recognition ceremony of catch somebody doing something right. In an organization where it was typically the culture was the opposite. Talk about everything that's going wrong on the court and in the market.
How we're going to fix it.
Catch somebody doing something right. Shine a light on the bright spot, and those bright spots eventually scale. That was the moment.
And so if you're listening to this today, it's about the call to action. If you're a leader today, find those partners around you. And if you are part of an organization, are you a partner today? Or are you raising your hand asking, hey, I'm here voluntold, or why am I here, whatever, or you don't have a connection with the work. But if you want to be part of that change, be part of the partnerships, be part of that team that wants to thrive, not necessarily just be there and wait for the 5:30.
100%. And look, we all have a weather system, okay? Eric, when you walk in a room or you hop on a Zoom meeting or when the lights go on, you're either going to warm it up or you're going to cool it off. The question is, are you aware of your own temperature? And that's my invitation to folks. That's my challenge is you have an opportunity in the spirit of being the best human possible for yourself and for all the humans around you. You have the opportunity to own the moment before I hop into this Zoom room, before I step into this coffee meeting, before I go into the boardroom. What is my temperature? What is my weather system? And when you choose warmth and you are warm, it invites warmth. It attracts warmth. Everybody, everything around you becomes warmer. Your results become warmer. Your future becomes warmer. But that is a process. So in the spirit of Win Monday, imagine if every Monday you intentionally warmed up a new room or you warmed up a new relationship, and you do it every Monday. The stacking and compounding effect is relationships are currency, as
Yes.
we know.
Yes.
You build winning relationships, but it was through a process and a
Yes.
system where you warmed up a room and you
Mm.
warmed up a relationship every Monday. And that's how we put Win Monday in action.
Wow. Paul, with that, one of the things that you shared with me when we first met about building a business, the importance of building a business, was that you have a very interesting habit that you do early in the morning. And you said, Eric, I build my business early in the morning. You have this mode. Can you share with us a little bit more? Because that was an inspiration for me, and that's kind of changed my perspective.
All right. So, whether you're a Vegas guy or not, the saying of you're playing with house money.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Every day I feel like I'm playing with house money,
Wow.
but it's based on a process.
Mm.
So the way I think about it, go back to what I said a couple minutes ago about controlling the controllables.
Yeah.
Well, here's the reality. Whether you have a family like we do or
Yeah.
not, at some point, whether it's your family waking up or you checking social media or you being reactive to emails, your day gets taken over by other people's agendas.
Mm.
That is a
Yes.
fact. So I realized once other people, or once I welcome tech and noise and communication into my morning, I've already kind of lost some control of the day.
Mm.
So I choose to own my mornings because I know it is almost impossible to own your afternoon. And typically it's impossible, or you're too tired to own your evening and perform at your best.
Yeah.
But the morning, before others get up, you can choose to not check your email. You can choose. Now you need to build a runway. So I'm not asking folks to be as crazy as me, but 4 a.m. is my typical wake up time. If I'm working on a big project like a book, 3 a.m. So let's say by 4 a.m. I'm up. And let's say other folks are getting up at 6 or 7 o'clock. That means I have a 2 to 3 hour window that I can own it. So what I do the night before, I say, what are 3 critical activities? And I align these to all of my personal and professional goals. I say, what are 3 critical activities I want to execute tomorrow? And Eric, I do 100% of them before anybody gets up.
Wow.
So by 6 or 7 a.m., I've had a winning day. The rest of the day is house money. So the process started the night before. I measure things, critical activities. I don't execute them at 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. or 8 p.m. because I might lose control. And then I would feel if I only did 1 out of 3 because of distractions or busyness or a fire came up or whatever it is, well, now my self-confidence, now my commitment to myself, like it's natural that we feel small. And I want to feel big so I can play big, but I need a process to make that happen. So that's the whole spirit of it.
That is awesome, Paul. And like I said, when you shared that with me a few years ago, that changed also my approach to my mornings. I haven't been as consistent as you, but I'm trying to, my friend. Trust me, I'm trying to. But exactly, right? It's a journey. It's a journey, right?
Yep.
And no, I appreciate that because that perspective, you're right. I mean, sometimes we do feel like we're playing with house money, not only during the day, but sometimes in our lives. And I think as someone that, we've shared this personal as well, that, when we have the privilege of doing what we're doing, right? We get an opportunity to be on a stage that maybe dozens of people, hundreds of people would love to be there, right? But they're giving you 20, 30, 45 minutes of their time. Man, you take that with the absolute respect and privilege and preparedness to, hey, be there, deliver, because the greatest asset that they're giving you is their time.
1,000,000%. And also, I call this the law of separators, and that's what your comment inspired in me right now. I assume that folks listening and watching, everybody wants to win. And by win, it's not a zero-sum game. Me winning doesn't mean you lose. I believe we can all win. The way that I'm describing win is like compete with yourself, show up as the best version of yourself, get 1% better every single day. And if you have that mentality, the beauty of that mentality is it gets you to a point where you have to be willing to do what others won't. Do what others won't. I call it the law of separators. So I'll take you back to the late great and RIP for Kobe Bryant. A lot of folks listening and watching may have heard of this story, so I'll give you the short version. But essentially in the NBA, the players get 2 practices a day. Well, let's say they're at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And think about what I said about organizing my day. What part of the day do you fully own? It's before anybody else is up. And so he created a 3 or 4 a.m. practice. So apparently he was as crazy as me, okay?
Wow.
But needless to say, he was doing his own practices. And his philosophy was, if I practice 3 times a day and everybody else in the NBA practices 2 times a day, if I did it for 1 day, it would make no difference. If I did it for a week, no difference. A month, maybe. A year, probably. But what if for a decade I practice 3 times a day and everybody else practices 2. I'm going to kick their you know what, right? And so you think about this competitive spirit, but he was just competing with himself.
Right.
Like it was this inner
Right.
drive. And so I think about, you have to be willing to do what others won't. You know what most people don't want to do? Wake up early. You know what I do? Wake up early, because they're not going to do it. And so when folks say, oh, how did you build this? Well, I'm willing to do what others won't. Also, I'm willing to do things even when I don't feel like it. And let's come back to that.
Yes.
But really, if I think about Win Monday, all right, that's cool. The research says it's everybody's worst day of the week. Game on. What if you won every Monday and your competition wastes every Monday and you did it for a decade?
Yes.
That's the power of Winning Monday. The world doesn't need more TGIF. Friday's amazing for everybody. Everybody's good.
Yeah.
But Winning Monday is a law of separators, just like 3 practices versus 2.
And that reminds me of that gradually then suddenly approach, right? It's the gradual work that takes place every single day, because the sudden is going to happen. And the question is, are you ready for that suddenly, for your organization to take advantage of it, for yourself to take advantage of it? But it's the gradual work, right? People think that just success happens like that. It doesn't. It's always a daily work in progress.
Yeah. No overnight success, right?
With that said, Paul, I mean, again, we could jam all day with this. One of the things we'd love to do in the future of Human Experience is that we ask our guests to come with a surprise question. For me, I'm really interested in
Are you ready? Are you ready? Buckle up.
I know. We've known each other for a couple of years, and it's been wonderful not only to see your journey, but having your support as well on my journey has been great. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what question do you have for me today.
Well, I can't get too far from this little character that they call Monday. So I'm going to ask you, let's say we've been, I don't know what it's been. It feels like you're right. We could speak for a decade, right? That this could have gone forever. Yeah. But let's say it's been 20 or 30 minutes. Who you were 30 minutes ago versus who you are now. What is your commitment on how you will win Monday going forward that you wouldn't have even known about yourself 30 minutes ago?
Wow. So one easy thing that I wanted to share with you that we actually did off camera is that you shared, because I asked you about how the early mornings going, and you actually literally showed me your alarm system, and you told me it was a menu. That I was like, oh my God, Paul, you're right. Like I'm over here just with 1 or 2 alarms, and I edit them every single night depending on what I want to do the next day. And what you said is like, no, you're intentional with creating a menu. And what I think that helped me before we got on camera was like, wow, what menus do I have in my life? Right, that I need to be much more selective. Technology is there just to be a tool and extension on what I want to go do.
Additive.
Not necessarily, correct, it's additive. It's not there to replace something. And so that's going to be a different perspective I'm going to bring out after our conversation. It's going to be, okay, what menus? That's one simple one today, but what are other things too, menus that I'm creating around myself or on my children? I think that's also going to be very impactful on how I want to start winning Monday and building that momentum every single week.
And here's the beauty. And let's just say hypothetically that you did create that menu for your wake up times, whatever numbers end up being behind them. They don't need to be as crazy. It's fine. But the beauty is, and I'm going to make you a promise of what you're going to run into if you move forward with that. There's going to be many days that you don't feel like it. So let me hang out there for 30 seconds.
Yes, please.
Everybody listening and watching has had this feeling. Let's talk about going to the gym. Have you experienced a moment where you know you should go to the gym, but you don't feel like it?
Absolutely.
And there's days where even against your own negative willpower, you do it anyways, right? You force your shoes on, you lace them up, you're sluggish, you're tired, 4 cups of coffee, and you still don't feel like it. You want to turn the car around, but you get there. And 30, 45, 60, 90 minutes later, whatever it is, and you pump it out. And you know what nobody says at the end of that workout is? I regret it. Everyone's so happy that they did it. They feel like $1 million because they know it's good for them. And so that same concept, whether it's the alarm early, going to the gym, or winning Monday, there's going to be Mondays you don't feel like a winner. There's going to be Mondays you don't feel like taking a winning action, but you do it anyways because you know it's good for you.
Absolutely.
If 98% of people say when I accomplish something meaningful on Monday, I have momentum for the rest of the week, this is practically a guarantee for momentum to win every day, win every week, win every month, win every year. And we can learn from the alarm. We can learn from the gym. And that's how we can apply it to having more winning Mondays.
Paul, are you familiar with the gym called Barry's Boot Camp?
Yes.
Okay, so someone challenged me years ago. I
Mhm.
was living in the Bay Area, and they said, Eric, for your birthday, you should go to Barry's Boot Camp and celebrate your birthday there and do a
Heck of
workout.
a present.
Right? I had no idea what I was running into. I said, yeah, cool. It's considered the world's best workout.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. I could go to the gym. I've been to the gym every handful of time. I did CrossFit for a handful of years, so I could do this. Paul, I go on my birthday morning. It was a 5 a.m. workout. I go to the workout. I'm probably 30 minutes into the workout. If the audience member, if y'all been in Barry's, please comment below if you've been to this gym. Probably 30 minutes into the workout, I'm about to cry. So I'm like, what am I doing on my birthday in this gym? After I'm done with the workout, I was so grateful I did it. One. Two, now when I travel around the world, I try to intentionally stay next to a Barry's.
I love that.
Try to go to a Barry's.
Habit. Yes.
Try to go to Barry's all around the world. I take picture with the trainer and the Barry's for that location, right? So it's become a thing that I've tried to do. But you're right. Like all of a sudden, you know it's going to be intense. You know it's going to be hard. But man, when you're done, it is like one of the coolest experiences. You know, you're better, you're healthier, and you knew it was the right thing to do. And sometimes just overcoming that hump, that makes the world of difference.
Yeah. I love it.
Paul Epstein, thank you so much for being part of this podcast. How can people stay connected with you, with your work? How can people continue to find the momentum that you're building, not only in your business, but that call to action you have for all of us?
Of course, paulepsteinspeaks.com. That is the home. That is the hub. And
Awesome.
the rocket ship known as Win Monday, you'll be able to find it there. And it's going to take you to a lot of really fun, cool places.
Awesome. Well, we'll have links to all that in our show notes. Paul, thank you so much for being part of the Future Human Experience.
Of course. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I'm inspired to hear that these conversations are resonating within our communities, our organizations, our companies, and our households all around the world. If you found this conversation to be valuable, please take the time to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else. I do believe that as the future gets much more digitized, it gives us an opportunity to be much more human as well. And these conversations are part of that journey. So if you're enjoying the content on this channel, please check out these videos. Thank you.